to become skilled in arousing emotions while telling the story. Time for John's speech is 6 to 8 minutes. Please welcome John Fry.
Could you sit here and clock that? Thank you. The children looked at me with utter disbelief. Utter disbelief. How could I have screwed up so badly? I'll tell you in a moment, but first let me set the stage. We were at the put-in on a 4-day canoe trip on the Green River on fall school break. It was myself and my 2 sons, my friends from Colorado and their 2 daughters. The kids were age 8 to 12, very close to this family from Colorado. They actually refer to me as Uncle John, the children. And my cousin and his wife. I was the trip leader, which involved getting everyone to Moab the night before we launched, organizing everything, squaring away the food, coordinating with the company that rented us the canoes and delivered us to the river and was going to pick us up. A lot of details. Furthermore, we had a fair amount of luggage since this was a luxury sort of trip. We're not roughing it at all. And in order to make the car a little less difficult to pack, I determined that my cousin would pick up the beer, wine, other adult beverages, and I would buy the soda for the kids in Moab. Well, we got down, you can imagine, a lot of activity, a lot of questions, a lot of coordinating. Evening got away from me. The next morning, we had to meet the shuttle driver at 8, and about halfway to the river, I remember I didn't buy the soda. I thought to myself, the kids won't notice, right? You know? They won't notice. So we get to the river. It's a hot day, even though it was in the fall. Hot day, we're unloading the canoes, we're loading everything up. My cousin reaches into the beer cooler and pulls out a can of Tecate that is so cold you can hardly hold it. You know, it's been in that cooler overnight. It is really, really cold. And little Rachel looks up and says, "Oh, can I have a root beer?" Well, it was time to fess up. I said, "Kids, I'm sorry I forgot the soda." They look at me with just utter disbelief. I'm the adult they can count. Stephanie Beckley, man, I note the only mother on the trip, had bought a 6-pack of blue Gatorade, the classic blue quart bottles of Gatorade. She said, "Don't worry, kids. I'll share my Gatorade with you. You can each have a Gatorade." And I said, "This is the time I can redeem myself, but it's a risk. I've got to go all in with this story." Kids, let me tell you about a tea house in Japan. In Japan, on Mount Fuji, there's a tea house. 7-mile hike. If you're a fast hiker, you can do it in 3 hours. Steep trail, hard hike. When you get to the tea house, you can buy a cup of tea for $1 or $100. Same cup of tea. No different, same cup, same people serving it. You don't get special seating. You can spend $1 or $100. Well, why in the world would you spend $100 on a cup of tea? The reason is, if you spend $100 on a cup of tea that you could have had for $1, that is a whole different experience. And so now you have the opportunity, kids, to have a whole different experience with your 1 bottle of blue Gatorade. And my buddy's standing in the back going, "Oh my God, this is never going to work." I said, "You can choose to drink your Gatorade right now. You could just chug the whole thing. You could choose to put it in the cooler, let it get really cold, and just ration it out over these 4 days. You know, a little in the morning, little at lunch when we stop, little in the evening. Look around, smell the air. What are you feeling about your trip? You're looking out at the cliffs. You're looking out at the cliffs. What do the cliffs look like? What's the sun angle? How's this all coming together?" And sure enough, the kids bought it. They put the Gatorade in the cooler, got ice cold, didn't drink any until that night. And I still remember my youngest son opening his bottle of Gatorade while looking up at a beautiful sunset on the cliffs in southern Utah. And just taking a sip, and you could tell he was really enjoying the moment and really remembering it. And let me tell you why the story worked. These kids have been privileged. They've traveled all over the world. They've had all kinds of adventures. 2 of them have actually lived in Europe for extended periods. And when we get together to this day, to this very day, when the stories start flowing, the Blue Gatorade story is always number 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, touching story, not in the sense that you might want to hear it, but if I could ask you to remember next time you're in a jam and you've got to explain something and get people involved in perhaps incurring a little discomfort, the tea house in Japan story works. Thank you.